Lesson number 24. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 177 to 182. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما اللهم فقهنا في الدين. How are you all? I hope you are all doing well. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps you all in His protection. May He bless you with steadfastness in deen. May He grant blessings in your time, knowledge, health and life. May He enable you to act according to every command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be a conveyor of knowledge to others. Ameen. Today's lesson. Our lesson number is 24. And it is from verse 177 to 182. We will start with word-to-word translation, and after that, the words will be explained according to the grammar, and then inshallah, there will be tafseer. Word-to-word translation. Laysa, it is not. Al-birra, only the piety, complete faith. An, that. Tawallu, you all turn. Wujuhakum, your faces, qibala, towards, al-mashriqi, the east, wa and, al-maghribi, the west, wa and, lakinna, but, al-birra, the piety, complete faith, man, is of who, amana, he believed, billahi, in, with, Allah, wal yawmi, and the day, al-akhiri, the last, wa and al-malaikati, the angels, wal-kitabi, and the book, wal-nabiyyin, and the prophets, wa and ata, he gave al-mala, the wealth, ala, upon due, in spite of, hubbihi, it's his love, dhawi, possessor, al-qurba, of the near relationship, relatives, wal-yatama, and the orphans, wal-masakina, and the ones needy, dependent, wabana, and son, as-sabili, of the way, traveller, was-sa'ilina, and those who ask, wafi, and in, ar-riqabi, the next, liberating slaves, wa, and, aqama, he established, as-salata, the salah, prayer, wa, and ata, he gave, az-zakata, the zakah, obligatory alms, purification, wal-mufuna, and those who fulfill, complete, bi-ahdihim, with their utmost promise, covenant, either, whenever, ahadu, they promised, made, covenant, was-sabirina, and those who endure with sabr, fortitude, patience, fi, in, al-ba'sa'i, the extreme hardship, wad-dharra'i, and the haram, adversity, wahina, and at time, al-ba'si, of the war, extreme hardship, ula'ika, those, alladhina, are those who, sadaqu, they spoke, proved the truth, wa ula'ika, and those who, hum, they only, al-muttaquna, are those who safeguard themselves, adopt taqwa, Allah consciousness. Ya ayyuha, O you, alladhina, those who, amanu, they believed, kutiba, it was written, made obligatory, alaykum, upon you all, al-qisasu, the qisas, retribution, equal punishment, fi, in, al-qatla, those who are killed, murdered, al-hurru, the free, bil-hurri, with the free, wal-abdu, and the slave, bil-abdi, with the slave, wal-untha, and the female, bil-untha, with the female. Faman, so whoever, ufiya, he was pardoned, lahu, for it, min, from, by, أخيه, his brother, شيء, anything, فاتباع, then completely to follow, following it, بالمعروف, with the manner where approved, recognized, known, and أداء, a payment, إليه, to him, بإحسان, with إحسان, utmost good, benevolence, ذلك, that, تخفيف, is a big lightening, concession, reduction, من, from, ربكم, your Rabb, sustainer, and رحمة, an abundant mercy, فمن, so whoever, اعتدى, he transgressed, بعد, after, ذلك, of that, فله, then is for him, عذاب, a torment, punishment, أليم, one painful, and لكم, is for you all, في, in, القصاص, the qisas, retribution, equal punishment, حياة, a kind of life, يا أولي, or possessors, الألباب, the intellects, insights, لعلكم, so that you all, تتقون, you all save yourselves, adopt taqwa, Allah consciousness, kutiba, it was written, ordained, عليكم, upon you all, إذا, when, حضر, it came to, approached, أحدكم, one of you all, الموت, the death, in, if, ترك, he left, خير, any wealth, goods, الوصية, the making a will, bequest, للوالدين, for the two parents, والأقربين, and the close relatives, بالمعروف, in, with the manner where approved, recognized, known, حقا, it is a duty, على, upon, المتقين, those who safeguard themselves, adopt taqwa, Allah consciousness, are righteous, فمن, then whoever, بدله, he changed it, بعد, after, ما, of that which, سمعه, he heard it, فإنما, so indeed not but, إثمه, its sin, على, is upon, الذين, those who, يبدلونه, they change it, إن, indeed, Allah, Allah, سميع, is always all hearing, عليم, and always all knowing, فمن, then whoever, خاف, he feared, was afraid, min, from, موصٍ, testator, one who makes will, جنفا, an inclining, injustice, partiality, or, إثما, a sinning, فأصلح, so he made, reform, reconciliation, بينهم, between them, فلا, then not, إثم, any sin, عليه, is upon him, إن, indeed, Allah, Allah, غفور, is most forgiving, رحيم, and always all merciful. Grammatical analysis. Now let us understand these words according to its grammar. Laysa, it is not. Root word is lam yasin. It is fi'l naqis, deficient verb, and fi'l madi, past tense. It doesn't have a fi'l mudari, present tense. It is wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine singular. Al-birra, only the piety, complete faith. Bir is also used for dry land and also forest. It means all sorts of goodness or good deeds done on a large scale, great goodness. Al-birra is ismarfa, proper noun, since it's starting with al. An, that. It is mustard nasiba, subordinating conjunction, sharp character, that is, it gives a fatha to the word following it. Tawallu, you all turn. Root word is waw lam ya. It was actually tawalluna because of an. The noon irabi, noon with the waw mark fatha, is dropped. It is fi'l mudari mansub, jama mudhakkar hadir, second person masculine plural, present tense, in subjunctive case. It is mansub because of an. From wallah, yuwalli, the verbal noun mustard is tawliyatan, which means to turn. Wujuhakum, your faces. Root word is waw jim ha. It is made up of wujuha and kum. Wujuha is mudaf, what is possessed, means faces. Its singular is wajhun. Kum in the end is mudaf ilayh, possessor. It is zamir of jama mudhakkar hadir, second person masculine plural pronoun. Qibala, towards. Root word is qaf ba'lam. It is mudaf, what is possessed. Al-mashriqi, the east. Root word is sheen ra qaf. It is mudaf ilayh, possessor. Wal-maghribi, and the west. Root word is ghain ra ba. Walakin, and but. Wa is harfi atf, conjunction. Lakin is harfi mushaba bil fail, particle resembling verb. Al-birru, the piety, complete faith. Man is of who. It is ism mawsul, relative pronoun. Amana, he believed. Root word is hamza mim noon. It is fil madi, wazin wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, singular past tense. From amana, yu'minu, the verbal noun. Masdar is imanan, which means to believe. Billahi, in, with Allah. Bi is harf jar, preposition. It is in the meaning of Allah here. It means in Allahi, which is majroor, genitive noun, because it follows a harf jar, preposition. Hence, its last letter has kasra under it. Wal yawmi, and the day. Root word is ya waw mim. Al akhiri, the last. Root word is hamza khara. It is ism sift, adjective. Wal malaikati, and the angels. Al malaikati, root word is mim lam kaf. Its singular is malakun. Wal kitabi, and the book. Wal nabiyina, and the prophets. Root word is noon ba hamza. Its singular is nabiyun. Wa'ata, and he gave. Root word is hamza ta ya. It is fi'l madi, wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine singular past tense. From ata, yu'ti, the verbal noon masdar is ita'un, which means to give. Al-mala, the wealth. Root word is mim waw lam. Ala, upon, due to, in spite of. It is harf jar, preposition. Hubbihi, it's, his love. Root word is hababa, hubbi, which is majroor, genitive noun, and mudaf, what is possessed. It means love. He is zamir, pronoun. Zawil qurba, possessor of the near relationship, relatives. Root word is qaf, raba. Zawi means possessor or owner. Its singular is dhu. It is mudaf. What is possessed? Al-qurba means near relationship. It is mudaf ilayh, possessor. Wal yatama, and the orphans. Root word is ya tamim. Singular of al-yatama is yatimun. If the parents die before the child reaches puberty, then he is called yatim. So a yatim or orphan is a child under the age of puberty and his parents are not alive. Wal masakina, and the ones needy, dependent. Root word is seen, kaf noon. Its singular is miskinun. Wabn sabili, and son of the way, traveller. Ibn means son. Its root word is ba noon ya. It is mudaf, or is possessed. As-sabili is mudaf ilayh, possessor. Root word is seen ba lam. It means the way, that is son of the way, meaning traveller. Was-sa'ilina, and those who ask. Root word is seen hamza lam. From verbal noun masdar su'alun. It is isfail, jama mudhakkar salim, sound masculine plural duo. Its singular is as-sa'ilu. Wafi, and in, fi is harf jar, preposition. Ar-riqabi, the necks, liberating slaves. Root word is ra, qaf ba. It is majroor, genitive noun. Its singular is raqabatun, which means neck, slave or prisoner. Wa aqama, and he established. Root word is qaf wa mim. It is fi'l madi, wahid mudaqar ghaib, third person masculine, singular past tense. From aqama, yuqimu, the verbal noun masdar is iqamatun, which means to establish. As-salata, the salah, prayer. Root word is sad, lam waw. Wa'ata, and he gave. Az-zakata, the zakah, obligatory alms, purification. Root word is za, kaf waw. Wal-mufuna, and those who fulfill, complete. Root word is waw, fa ya. The word wafa is also derived from the same root from the verbal noun masdar ifa'un. Is fi'l, jama mudhakkar salim, sound masculine, plural doer. Bi ahdihim, with their utmost promise, covenant. Root word is ayn, hadal. It is muraqqab izafi, possessive phrase. The B in the beginning is harfi jar, preposition. Ahadi is majroor, genitive noun, and mudaf, what is possessed. It means promise. And him is zamir, pronoun. Idha, whenever, is zarfi zaman, mustaqbil, future, time adverb, used in the meaning of shart, condition. Ahadu, they promised, made covenant. It is fi'l madi, jamal mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, plural past tense. From ahadu, yu'ahidu, the verbal noun masdar is muhadatun, which means a contract. Here, because of idha, it is translated as they made a promise. Was-sabirina, and those who endure with sabr, fortitude, patience. Root word is sad, bara, from verbal noun masdar sabrun, is fi'l, jama mudhakkar masculine, plural doer. Its singular is sabirun. Fil ba'sa'i, in the extreme hardship. Fi is harfi jar, preposition. Al-ba'sa'i, root word is ba, hamza, sin. It is ism marfa, proper noun, and mu'annas, feminine. Wad-darra'i, and the harm, adversity, root word is dod, ra, wa, and. Heen al-ba'si, at the time of the war, extreme hardship. Hina means time or era. It is mudaf, what is possessed. Root word is ha, ya, noon. Al-ba'si means war. It is mudaf ilay, possessor. Root word is ba, hamza, sin. Ulaika, those. It is ism ishara, jama ba'id, plural. Fa, demonstrative, noun. Alladhina, are those who. It is ism mawsul, relative pronoun, and jama mudhakkar, masculine, plural. Sadaqu, they spoke, prove the truth. Root word is sad, dal, qaf. It is fi'l madi, jama mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, plural, past tense. It is from sadaqa, yasdiqu. The verbal noun masdar is sidqan, which means to speak the truth. Wa ulaika, and those. Humul muttaquna, they only are those who safeguard themselves, adopt taqwa, Allah consciousness. Root word is waw, qaf, ya, from verbal noun masdar, ittiqun. It is ism jama mudhakkar, masculine, plural, doer. Ya ayyuhalladhina, O you, those who. Alladhina is ism mawsul, jama mudhakkar, masculine, plural, relative pronoun. Amanu, they believed. It is fi'l madi, jama mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, plural, past tense. It is from amana, yu'minu. The verbal noun masdar is imanun, which means to believe. Kutiba, it was written. Root word is kaf, taba. It is fi'l madi, majhul, wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, singular, passive, past tense. From kataba, yaktubu, the verbal noun masdar is kitabun, which means to write. Alaykum, upon you all, made obligatory. It is a combination of ala, upon, and kum, you. Al-qisasu, the qisas, retribution, equal punishment. Root word is qaf, sad. It is ismarfa, proper noun. Fil qatla, In those who are killed, murdered. Root word is qaf. Talam, it is majroor. Genitive noun, its singular is al-qatilu. Al-hurru, the free. Root word is harara. Its plural is ahrarun. Bil-hurri, with the free. B is harfi jar, preposition. Al-hurri is majroor, genitive noun. Wal-abdu, and the slave. Root word is ayn badal. Bil-abdi, with the slave. Wal-untha, and the female. Root word is hamza noon sa. Bil-untha, with the female. Faman, so whoever. Fa is harfi atf, conjunction. Man is ism mawsul, relative pronoun. Ufiya, he was pardoned. Root word is ayn farewell. It is fi'l madi majhul wahid madaq al-ghaib, third person masculine singular passive past tense. From afa, ya'fu, the masdar verbal noun is afwan, meaning to forgive, to pardon. Lahu, for it. La is harfi jar, preposition. Hu is dhamir, pronoun. Min, from, by, is harfi jar, preposition. Akhihi, his brother. Root word is hamza kha waw. Akhi is majroor, genitive noun and mudaf. What is possessed, meaning brother. He is dhamir, pronoun. Shay'un, anything. Fattiba'un, then completely, to follow, following it. Root word is taba'in. Fa is harfi atf, conjunction, meaning so or then. Ittiba'un is masdar, verbal noun, means to follow. Bil ma'rufi, with the manner, way, approved, recognized, known. Root word is ayn rafa. B is harfi jar, preposition. Al ma'rufi is majroor, genitive noun. It is ism marfa, proper noun. Wa ada'un, and a payment. Root word is hamza daliya. It is masdar, verbal noun. Ilayhi, to him. Bihsanin, with ihsan, utmost good, benevolence. Root word is ha sin noon. B is harfi jar, preposition. Ihsanin is majroor, genitive noun. ذلك, that is ishara, wahid mudaqar ba'id, masculine, singular. Fa, demonstrative noun. Takhfifun is a big lightening, concession, reduction. Root word is kha fa fa. Min, from. Rabbikum, your Rabb, sustainer. Root word is ra ba ba. Wa rahmatun, and an abundant mercy. Root word is ra hamim. It is masdar, verbal noun. Faman, so whoever, he. Man is ism mawsul, relative pronoun. I'tada, transgressed. Root word is ayn dal waw. It is fi'l madi wahid madaq al-ghaib, third person masculine singular past tense. From i'tada, ya'tadi, the verbal noun masdar is i'da'un, which means to transgress. Ba'da, after. Dhalika, of that. Falahu, the is for him. Adhabun, a torment, punishment. Alimun, one painful. Root word for this is hamza lam mim. It is ism sift, adjective, from verbal noun masdar alamun. It is sift mushaba, resembling description. Walakum, and is for you all. Fil qisasi, in the qisas, retribution, equal punishment. Hayatun, a kind of life. Root word is ha ya ya. It is masdar, verbal noun. Ya ulil albabi, of possessors of the intellects, insights. Ya is harfi nida, calling particle. Ulil albabi is munadda, what is called. Uli is mudaf, what is possess, meaning is possessor of. Root word is hamza waw lam. Al-albabi is mudaf ilay, possessor, meaning intellects. It is a plural. Root word is lam baba. Its singular is lubbun, which means intellect. لعلكم, so that you all. لعل is حرف مشابه بالفعل, particle resembling word. Kum is zamir pronoun. تتقون, you all save yourselves. Adopt taqwa, Allah consciousness. Root word is waw qaf ya. It is fi'l mudari, jama mudhakkar hadir, second person masculine plural present tense. From ittaqa, yattaqi, the verbal noun masdar is ittiqun, which means to fear Allah. Kutiba, it was written. It is fi'l madhi majhul passive past tense and wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine singular. Alaykum, upon you all, ordained. Either, when. Hadara, it came to, approach. Root word is ha, dod, ra. It is fi'l madhi wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine singular past tense. It is from hadara. Yahduru, the verbal noun is hudurun, which means to be present or to come, to approach. Because of either, the meaning is it approached or it came. Ahadakum, one of you all. Root word is hamza ha dal. Ahada is mudaf or is possessed, meaning any one of. And kum is the mere pronoun. Al-mautu, the death. Root word is mim, waw, da. In, if. It is shartiya, conditional particle. Taraka, he left. Root word is ta, ra, kaf. It is fi'l madhi, wahid mudhakkar ghaib, third person masculine, singular past tense. Taraka is thulathi mujarrad, trilateral verb, because it is the first mold of past tense and its root word has the three original letters. Our grammar lesson today is 28 measures of trilateral verbs. The link for the grammar lesson is given in the description box. Do watch it. The three awzan in madhi of thalathi mujarrad, or three molds of trilateral verbs in past tense, are fa'ala, fa'ila, and fa'ula. Taraka is on the pattern of fa'ala. Please do memorize the awab 6 measures of thalathi mujarrad really well. I am going to repeat it for you once. Each measure has a name and a sign. Memorize it as well. The 6 measures of thalathi mujarrad are: number 1, fataha, yaftahu. The sign or recognition of this measure or bab is fa. The second is daraba, yadribu, bab is dad. Nasara, yansuru, bab is noon. Samiya, yasma'u, bab is sin. Hasiba, yahsibu, bab is ha. Karuma, yakrumu, bab is kaf. You have to memorize these very well. From taraka, yatruku, the verbal noun masdar is tarkan, which means to leave, give up. Because of in, the meaning is he left. Khayrun, any wealth, goods. Al-wasiyatu, the making a will, bequest. The root word for this is waw, sadiya. It is masdar, verbal noun. Lil walidaini, for the two parents. Root word is waw lam dal. Wal aqrabina, and the close relatives. Root word is qaf, raba. Bil ma'rufi, in with the manner, way, approved, recognized, known. Bi is harf jar, preposition. Root word is ayn, rafa. Haqqan, it is a duty. Root word is ha, qaf, qaf. It is masdar, verbal noun. Ala, upon. Al-muttaqina, those who safeguard themselves, adopt taqwa, are righteous. Its singular is al-muttaqi, meaning righteous. Faman, then whoever. Baddalahu, he changed it. Root word is ba, dal, lam. بدل is فعل ماضي واحد مذكر غيب third person masculine singular past tense. From بدل يبدلوا the verbal noun. مصدر is تبديلا which means to change. Who is ضمير pronoun. بعدما after of that which. ما is مصدرية subordinating conjunction. سمعه he heard it. Root word is seen ميم عين. سمع is فعل ماضي واحد مذكر غيب third person masculine singular past tense. It is ثلاثي مجرد trilateral verb on the pattern of فاعلة. From سمع يسمع the verbal noun. مصدر is سمع which means to listen. فإنما so indeed not but. إنما is كلمة حصر which is accusative particle. إثمه its sin. Root word is hamza. Samim. Ismun is mudaf or is possessed meaning is sin and who is dhamir pronoun. Ala is upon. الذين those who. يبدلونه they change it. It is فعل مضارع جمع مذكر غيب third person masculine plural present tense. It is from بدل يبدلو. The verbal noun مصدر is تبديلا which means to change. إن الله indeed Allah. سميع is always all hearing. Root word is seen ميم عين. It is sifati name attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from verbal noun masdar samiyun. It is sifte mushaba resembling a description that is always all hearing. Alimun and always all knowing. Root word is ayn lam mim. Faman then whoever. Khafa he feared was afraid. Root word is khaw. Wawfa it is fi'l madi wahid mudhakkar ghaib third person masculine singular past tense. It is from khafa. Yakhafu the verbal noun. Masdar is khawfan which means to fear. Min from. Musin testator one who makes will. Root word is waw. Sold ya from verbal noun. Isa'un it is isfil wahid mudhakkar masculine singular duo. It was actually mu'si. Janafan an inclining injustice partiality. Root word is jim noon fa. Janafan is masdar verbal noun. Janafa is fi'l madi past tense and sulati mujarrad trilateral verb. Yajnifu is fi'l mudari present tense. O or it is harfe atf conjunction. Ithman a sinning it is masdar verbal noun. Fa'aslaha so he made reform reconciliation. Sod lam ha is the root word. Fa is harfe atf conjunction. Aslaha is fi'l madi wahid mudhakkar ghaib third person masculine singular past tense. From aslaha yuslihu the masdar. Verbal noun is islahun which means to reform. Bainahum between them. Root word is ba ya noon. Baina is mudaf or is possessed. Hum is dhamir pronoun. Fala then not. Here la is nafiya negative particle. Isma any sin. Alayhi is upon him. Inna Allah indeed Allah. Ghafurun is most forgiving. Rahimun and always all merciful. Both of these are sifati names, attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us now listen to the recitation of today's verses.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بعهدهم إذا عاهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم ولكم في القصاص حياة يا أولي الألباب لعلكم تتقون كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين فمن بدله بعدما سمعه فإنما إثمه على الذين يبدلونه إن الله سميع عليم فمن خاف من موص جنفا أو إثما فأصلح بينهم فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم.
Tafseer. According to the topics, there are two parts of Surah Al-Baqarah. The first part we have already covered. In the first part, there were 18 rukus and 151 verses. And in the first part, the topic was related to the reform of the Jews. Now, in the second part, the guidance is being given to Ummat Muhammadiyah, the nation of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning for all of us in all fields of life, and the emphasis is towards good deeds. Our today's lesson is starting from 12th ruku, and the first ayah is 177. Ayah number 177 is very important and is known as Ayat Bir. This is the second longest ayah of the Quran. The first one is Ayat Dad, which will come in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 282. In Ayat Bir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the 10 important qualities of real soldiers of Islam. We also have to see which of these qualities are present in us and which we are lacking and which we have to adopt. This is also a jihad. That is why it has been said that these are the qualities of real soldiers of Islam. From these 10 qualities, 5 are related to faith and 5 qualities are related to deeds. The real spirit of deeds are being mentioned here. The Jews and Christians have been addressed here, and it has been said to Muslims too. When the Muslims came to Medina after Hijrat migration, they used to offer prayers while facing Bayt al-Maqdis, Jerusalem. This was mentioned in the books of the Jews that the Qibla of the last prophet will be Baytullah, Mecca. Now the Jews started to discuss among themselves that this is not the last prophet because his Qibla is not Baytullah and he is following our Qibla. When the command of the change of Qibla came, they did not remain silent. They started arguing and fighting with the Muslims, and they started saying what kind of prophet he is and stating he is not a Nabi, he does not know his Qibla, sometimes saying this is Qibla and sometimes this. Then this ayah was revealed, which gives a summary of the Quran, ayah number 177. Tafseer of verse number 177. ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والسائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والموفون بأهدهم إذا عهدوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. Translation. Righteousness is not whether you turn your face towards east or west, but the righteousness is to believe in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, and to spend wealth out of love for Him on relatives, orphans, helpless, needy, the travellers, those who ask for, and on the redemption of captives, and to establish Salah, and to pay Zakah alms, to fulfill promises when made, to be steadfast in distress, in adversity, and at the time of war. These people are the truthful, and these are the pious. Tafseer. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces towards the east or the west. In Ayat Tibir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Jews, because they were fighting and arguing, that facing towards east or west is not that deed which will be the cause for salvation in the Akhirah, meaning the hereafter, but righteousness is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command, meaning the soul of righteousness is ikhlas, sincerity, and that the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be followed. Whatever direction is being told should be followed. The actual thing is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the soul of righteousness. This is the goal. Bir means righteousness. Here it has been said that by doing a few outer things, one should not blindly mistake it for complete righteousness. First, you should correct your aqidah, meaning to correct your faith and intentions. If you will not do this, then what will happen? Yes, big deeds will also not be accepted. Most of the commands of the Sharia are based on faith, deeds, and mannerism, meaning most of the commands are about the aqidah, or about what we should or should not be doing regarding the deeds. So firstly, this is why it is necessary to have the correct aqidah, faith, so that our amal, deeds, and ikhlaq, manners are correct. Here, a lot of people offer lots of voluntary charity, sadaqah, and charity, which is khairat, and think that this is total righteousness, but are negligent in their obligatory salah, namaz, and fasting. Some people offer lots of prayers, namaz, but do not see what is lawful and what is unlawful, especially in doing business. They are negligent in this. In the same way, people read Quran one after the other and keep counting that they have finished so many, but do not understand its translation and tafsir, and nor do they try to understand it. They do not feel it is necessary. What can be the harm in doing this? Yes, your amal actions will not change according to the Quran and Sunnah. In this ayah, it is being said to the Jews and to us all that what is righteousness? Indeed, righteousness is to believe in oneness of God and to believe on the Day of Judgment and the angels, the books, the prophets. Here it is being told that righteousness and all goodness is not only in facing the west and east, but in reality a righteous person is one who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the Day of Judgment, Qiyamah, on the angels and on the books of Allah, and have faith upon the prophets. Here it has been said to all Muslims that tell the people of the book that they should not argue and fight regarding the change of the direction of the Qibla. They should finish this matter, and whatever clarification was necessary, it had been given. Now this is not important, but now importance should be given to other important works. First of all, correct your Aqidah. Worry about your Iman, your faith. So what is Aqidah? Aqidah is profound statement done with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by his slave. Aqidah is our strong conviction, perfect thoughts and belief. Correct Aqidah is very necessary because to do good deeds, reformation of the heart is very important. With that the deeds change. Until and unless the aqaid are not correct, the heart cannot reform, and the Quran does not affect. The Quran cleans the heart when the aqaid are correct. If a person wants his heart to be cleaned by the Quran, then the first thing he will have to do is correct his aqaid. Quran lays the foundation on Iman. So what is Iman? Yes, Iman is strong conviction, and to bring Iman, correct Aqidah is important. When Aqidah will be correct, then only the Iman will be strong. If the Aqidah is not correct, then the deeds and worship are not accepted. The foundation of Islamic Aqidah is on Iman. No Iman is without Aqidah, and no Aqidah is without Iman until it is complete. Iman is confirmation by the tongue, and acceptance by the heart, and aptness in deeds, meaning whatever is in the heart should be on the tongue and in our conduct. Here it is being said to bring Iman upon these 5 righteous things. When all these 5 qualities will be present, only then the Aqidah will be built correctly. Number 1, Amana billah, bring Iman on one Allah, meaning have strong conviction in His oneness and not associating anyone with Him. Obviously, when one instills this, only then the deeds will be for Allah with sincerity and will be only to please Allah. Number 2, wal yawmil akhiri, and on the last day, the hereafter, having strong conviction in meeting with Allah. Until a person does not believe in the akhirah, the hereafter, then one cannot do deeds for the akhirah. They will only do deeds for the benefit of this world. And included in this will be all types of unlawful deeds, lies, and breaking promises. Number 3, wal malaikat, meaning and bring Iman on angels. So what did these people do? They brought Iman upon angels, but the polytheists of Mecca had made them daughters of Allah, na'uz billah, and the Jews considered them as their enemy. Number 4, wal kitab, and bring Iman on Allah's books. If there will be Iman on the books of Allah, then only then it will be easy to follow it, and whoever will want to do the deeds according to the book, then he will definitely try to learn and understand it with translation and detailed commentary, Tafseer. Number 5, wan nabiyyin, and bring Iman on the prophets. Bringing Iman on the prophets, only then it will be easy to follow them, and then the deeds will change. Bringing Iman on these 5 things has been mentioned in Hadith Jibreel. Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu ta'ala narrates in Sahih Muslim, this is a hadith. One day, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was present among them, and a man came and said, "O Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what is Iman, faith?" Allah's Messenger replied, "Faith is to believe in Allah, His angels, in meeting with Him, His prophets, and to believe in resurrection." Meaning, to believe in these, not believing in anyone will make you a disbeliever. Having Iman on these 5 things can be seen by the deeds. The Jews used to claim Prophet Uzair alayhi salam as Allah's son, and did innovation. And the Christians used to say Prophet Jesus was son of God, and did shirk in this way. The mushrikeen of Mecca used to say that the angels were Allah's daughters, and did shirk in this way. Whereas the angels used to take the message of Allah to the prophets and used to do this and obey the commands of Allah. They had the wrong beliefs regarding the hereafter. Some would say their lords, Lat, Manat and Uzza will be the saviors, and through these that they would gain salvation. Some used to say that the hellfire will only touch them and for a few days, and that they were the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they would say that they would only go into the hellfires only for a few days, and those days were which that they had worshipped the cow. The Jews would say that Jibreel alayhi salam was their enemy. In the same way, they did not believe in the Injil, Bible and the Quran. The Christians did not believe in the Quran. The Christians, the Nasara, and the Jews, the Yahud, and the polytheists, the Mushrikeen, did not even believe that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the last prophet. In Ayat Bir, after the mention of Aqidah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, although still having the love for wealth, righteousness is given both types of charity in the spite of the love for money, and has also told who all are the deserving, whom the money should actually be given to. It is being said, وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَابْنَ السَّبِيلِ وَالسَّائِلِينَ وَفِي الرِّقَابِ. And whoever gives his wealth in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to his relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveller, and those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves. After the topic of Aqidah, mention of wealth, charity, is because the wrong Aqidah. The second problem of the Jews was their interest-based business, due to which they instilled stinginess in their nature. They previously were told to correct the Aqidah, that is true righteousness. Now they are being told that whatever unlawful you eat, and the love for wealth that you have adopted, and you do not give anything to others, remove this from within yourselves, and you should give to those deserving people. This is righteousness. So they are being told true righteousness is instead of your love for wealth, you should give to the deserving people. The more love for wealth you have, the greater the reward for offering voluntary and involuntary charity, which is sadaqah and khairat, because the sacrifice is big. If the desire of human sympathy is present, then only one can be called human, then only then one can be righteous. A person cannot be righteous if he sees the poor in difficulty and instead of helping them, one takes advantage of their helplessness, then this is not righteousness. Or if one takes interest from the poor for their own benefit, this is the reason that after Iman, human sympathy has been said as righteousness. وَآتِ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى. Here it has been said to give the relatives first. They have the first right if they are your relatives and if they are needy. If they are needy, then before starting big works of social service, the needy relatives should be given the due right. In Tirmidhi and in Nisai it states that giving to the needy is a single reward, but giving to a needy relative is double reward. One is the reward of charity, and the other is the reward of treating the relative well, which is sila rahmi. Wal yatama. It is being said here that the second right is of the yatim, orphans. Orphans are those children that have not reached maturity and are bereft by their father's presence. Then, wal masakin, the needy are mentioned. It is being said to help them. They are the white-collared people and cannot fulfill their needs. Then it has been said, wabna sabili, you help the travellers. The traveller is one who is away from their home. Even if he is rich, if during travelling one is short of provision, or they have been pickpocketed and are in need, then that person should be helped. This is righteousness. Wasa'ilina, and people who ask for help, meaning those who put their needs in front of someone. If your heart permits, give to them, but do not rebuke them. Also in a hadith, it has been mentioned, if one is not deserving and still they are asking, then it is as if they are asking for the embers of the hellfire, meaning asking just to increase the wealth has been disliked. وَفِي الرِّقَابِ, freeing the necks of slaves is righteousness. Now, it's not actually the time of slaves, so freeing the innocent prisoners will come into this, and this too is righteousness. Or those who are falsely accused and are imprisoned and are unable to offer the bail money, then offering their bail money is righteousness too. Likewise, if someone is kidnapped, giving money for their release is also righteousness. وَأَقَامُ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَ الزَّكَاةَ. It has been said here that establishing prayers and giving zakah is also righteousness. Now, after our amal actions, it is being said offering worship, praying and giving obligatory zakah is also righteousness. Prayers should be offered with sincerity and on time, with all its obligatory acts, and with humility and humbleness. This too is also righteousness. No matter how much worship you do for Allah's sake, namaz is a worship you have to offer, as this is what has been stated here. No matter how much you spend, but zakah, you have to give it. It is farz, obligatory. Here it has been said that offering farz namaz and giving farz zakah is also righteousness. Now matters are being mentioned here. وَالْمُوفُونَ بِأَهْدِهِمْ إِذَا عَهَدُوا. And whatever promise they do should fulfill. This too is righteousness, because breaking a promise is a sign of hypocrisy. It has been stated in Sahih Bukhari that the three main signs of a hypocrite are: whenever he speaks, he lies; whenever he makes a promise, he breaks it; and he breaches the trust. Now, mannerism is being mentioned. وَالصَّابِرِينَ فِي الْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَحِينَ الْبَأْسِ. And those who are patient in poverty and hardships and during battle. These people too are doing righteousness. The first quality of good character, yes, is that they are patient. And when are they patient? At the time of trials and tests, when in problems and at times of hardship, and when facing problems in sickness, during battle, because without patience no good deed is possible. One cannot even offer namaz salah without having patience. Fulfillment of charity and promises is only possible with having patience. Here we also come to know that a pious person also fights in battle, because it is mentioned in Surah Ali Imran in 146, verse 146, it states, lots of prophets have passed with whom Allah's beloveds fought battles with, the enemies of Allah. Whatever problems they had to face, in this way they remained patient, nor they lost courage, nor they showed cowardice, and nor were they afraid of the non-believers. And Allah befriends those who are patient. Such a beautiful ayah. Similarly in Surah Al-Anfal, verse number 39, وَقَاتِلُوهُمْ حَتَّى لا تكون فتنة, and keep fighting with them until the conflict is over. In the end of Ayat al-Bir, it is being said, أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. These people are the truthful and these are the pious. It is being stated here that these are the righteous people. That means they adopt the above mentioned qualities. These are true righteous people. So what are these qualities? They have strong faith in their heart and conduct, and they have the desire of helping others in their heart, and they make a special arrangement for worship, and they display excellent manners. They try their best to avoid breaking promises, and they will fight against injustice. Their Aqidah belief is correct. Their inner and outer essence is the same. Whatever they say is what they do. And this is what dwells in their hearts. They are trustworthy, God-fearing, and obedient people. These are those people who do not argue on the change of the direction, and they do not fight with each other. They are not those who have faults in their faith, and their acts are not without spirit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to adopt these qualities. Ameen. Tafseer of lesson number 178. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتل الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى فمن عفي له من أخيه شيء فاتباع بالمعروف وأداء إليه بإحسان ذلك تخفيف من ربكم ورحمة فمن اعتدى بعد ذلك فله عذاب أليم. Believers, retribution is prescribed for you in cases of killing. If a free man is guilty, then the free man. If a slave is guilty, then the slave. If a female is guilty, then the female. But if something of a murderer's guilt is remitted by his brother, this should be adhered to in fairness, and payment be made in a goodly manner. This is an alleviation and a mercy from your Lord, and for him who commits excess after that there is a painful punishment. In Ayat al-Bir, the summary of Deen was interpreted. Now, one by one, the rules of the Sharia are being told here. In this ayah, the sanctity of life is being discussed, that the life of a person is very precious in this world. The safety and sanctity is bound on every Muslim. In Islamic Sharia, after the sanctity of life is the sanctity of wealth, which is mentioned in ayah number 180. In this ayah 178, it has been said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى. O you, people who believe, it has been prescribed for you to take vengeance of the murdered. Now, let us see what are the literal meaning of qisas. It means to take a revenge. Blood for blood, life for life, meaning the revenge of the murdered is to murder the murderer. If someone has done cruelty, the revenge should be only the amount of cruelty done. The revenge should be equal. Whoever exceeds in taking the revenge will be among the wrongdoers or the unjust. For example, if someone is slapped, then in return they also slap back, but in greater force. Then first he was an oppressed person, but now he will become the oppressor. It is better to forgive. Now let us see the terminological meaning of qisas. If anyone has killed or injured someone, so then the oppressor should be punished, in which there should be equality in taking the revenge. Now let us see when this ayah was revealed. In the time of ignorance, there was a battle between Banu Qurayza and Banu Nadir. Banu Nadir were victorious, and it was decided that if any person of Banu Nadir will murder anyone from Banu Qurayza, then in return no one will be murdered from Banu Nadir, but he will give 100 wasaq measures of dates. And if anyone from Banu Qurayza will murder someone from Banu Nadir, then in Qisas, the murderer will be killed. And if the blood money or ransom will be taken, then it will be double, meaning in return 200 wasaq measure of dates will be taken. This was not justice. One more incident was such. There was a battle between two Arab tribes. Islam came and then they decided to take the revenge and said, in return of our slave, their free people will be murdered. In the same way, if a woman had murdered, then in return a man will be murdered. They had made different categories of humans. If a low-grade person killed a higher-grade person, then instead of the murderer, any other person of that tribe who was equal in status to the maqtul, one murdered, should be killed. If the slave killed one free person, then in return, instead of that slave, someone free from the tribe should be killed. In the same way, if a male killed a female of the other tribe, then the tribe of the qatil, murderer, would claim that you also killed some female. In this way, the murderer would be released and an innocent person would be killed. Through Qisas, retribution, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala demolished this age of ignorance-based custom of injustice through the revelation of this ayah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم القصاص في القتلى الحر بالحر والعبد بالعبد والأنثى بالأنثى. O you Muslims, it has been prescribed on you to take retribution for those who have been murdered, and the revenge will be taken from the murderer only. If a free person has done the murder, then the murderer will be killed in Qisas. If the slave had killed someone, then in return, the murderer, the slave, will be killed. In the same way, if the female had killed, then in return that female will be killed, because she is a murderer. That means that instead of killing the murderer, killing the innocent is unjust, meaning the person who has murdered will be punished. This was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's justice and order, and doing this was made obligatory. Then it has been said, فَمَنْ عُفِيَ لَهُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ شَيْءٌ فَاتِّبَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ. If the heirs of the murdered, the maqtul, forgive the murderer without taking the financial compensation, the diyat, just for the sake of Allah, this is the first grade of forgiveness. Secondly, is that the diyat, blood money, should be taken, meaning in Qisas, instead of taking a life, financial compensation can be taken. فَاتِّبَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Then the heirs can take the diyat, blood money, according to their time and law. Then the amount for the diyat, the blood money, should be fixed. وَأَدَاءٌ إِلَيْهِ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Meaning, and the murderer should pay fairly to the heirs of the murdered and do excellent justice. And excellent justice is هل جزاء الإحسان إلا إلى الإحسان. This means, what can be the return of most excellent kindness than excellent kindness itself? Because the heirs of the murdered had done kindness by sparing the life, there was diyat in the law of the Christians, but there was no Qisas, whereas in the law of the Jews, Qisas was obligatory, but there was no concept of blood money. In this ayah, rights have been given to the heirs of the murdered, but if they want, they can forgive, and if they want, they can take the financial compensation, or they can take the life in return. ذَلِكَ تَخْفِيفٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَرَحْمَةٌ. It has been said that forgiving without taking anything or taking diyat, blood money, and sparing the life is a blessing and favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Sahih Bukhari, it has been stated that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the heirs of the murdered has the right to take a ransom, or they can retaliate and demand qisas, retribution of the murderer. But the Prophet ﷺ has given preference towards forgiving than qisas itself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with his favour has given ease to the Muslims that with or without accepting diyat, blood money, they can still forgive. فَمَنِ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ عَلِيمٌ. Tafseer of verse number 179. وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. There is security of life for you in the law of retaliation, O people of reason, that so you may become mindful of Allah. In the time of ignorance, one proverb was very famous, al-qatlu anfil qatl, which meant murder erases murder. These people were lazy in taking qisas because they had no pattern or rule of taking qisas. When one would come to take the qisas, thousands were murdered on both sides, and this matter would continue. It was never ending. Just on the name of qisas, they would fight with each other for many years. And from both sides, blood would be shed and murders would occur. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Fil qisasi hayat, that life is in qisas, then the people of Arabia rejoiced, because the proverb, murder erases murder, was senseless and stressful when compared to the verse, Fil qisasi hayat, which was a concise ruling. There was a very big secret of life hidden within it. The purpose of the religion of Islam was the safety of life and wealth. This is the reason that the murder of one person is equal to the murder of the whole of humanity. And saving one life is as if you save the whole of humanity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَلَكُمْ فِي الْقِصَاصِ حَيَاةٌ يَا أُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. O you, people of understanding, for you there is life in qisas, so that you are saved and become God-fearing and virtuous people. There is security in qisas towards human life. When one person has this fear that if I will murder someone unjustly, then I also will be murdered in qisas, then in the fear of losing one's own life, he will also not have the courage to murder anyone at all. Nowadays, some organizations are working against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's orders. They say that qisas is a barbaric and unjust act. They have an objection. That is, one person has been killed and have departed from this world now. Why take the life of the murderer? Lifelong imprisonment can be done too. There are organizations that have sympathy with the murderer but have no sympathy with the victims, heirs, who suffer with the loss of their dear ones, and not being able to take the revenge from the murderer causes them to live daily and die daily. Sometimes a single caretaker of the family can be murdered, and when he departs from this world, therefore, this can be a struggle for the family, and this is the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, O you who understand, life is in qisas. When the murderer is hanged in front of everyone, or they are decapitated with the sword, then there is fear and panic in the people. This will become a deterrent for them, and they will learn a lesson from it, thus will not dare to kill any innocent person. In the country where there is no law of qisas, you can see the rate of murders in broad daylight. They consider it very easy to murder someone. And when one sees when one sees the other freely roaming, they also get motivation. So for him, committing murder becomes very easy. That is why it has been said that there is life in qisas, meaning so that you are saved from being a murderer or getting murdered, so that you stay away from taking the life of others in the fear of losing your own life, and you stay away from big crimes so that you will be able to be saved from your Lord's punishment and are saved from the punishment of the hereafter. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so that you may be righteous and you become God-fearing, so that you become a virtuous person. In Saudi Arabia, for example, the law of qisas is implemented, and due to the Islamic law, there are blessings, and the crime rate is very low in comparison to other places of the world. The number of murders committed in America alone is equal to 1 full year's murders committed in Saudi Arabia. If the law of qisas is applied correctly, then there is life in it. Therefore, the murderers should not be supported. If there is implementation of Islamic law, then people will be afraid of killing an innocent person, as they will not want to lose their own life too. Tafseer of verse number 180. كتب عليكم إذا حضر أحدكم الموت إن ترك خيرا الوصية للوالدين والأقربين بالمعروف حقا على المتقين. Translation: The will is made obligatory before the death of any one of you who is leaving some property behind to bequest it equitably to his parents and relatives. This is a duty incumbent on the righteous. So in the time of ignorance, when a person would die, then from his wealth only his wife and his male children, that is his sons, would inherit the wealth. There was no share for parents and relatives of the deceased. So this was the earlier order of inheritance. It was said that the benefactor, before his death, should prepare a will, wasiyat, for his parents and relatives, and make it clear how much each one will obtain, because doing this is obligatory. This was the earlier order. Afterwards, in Surah Nisa, verse 11 to 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has stated the share of each heir. And this ayah, number 180, became mansukh, abrogated. Now only 1/3 or even less than this can be distributed in the will, and this amount can be used for general welfare, but this amount should not exceed 1/3 of the wealth. 1/3 of the wealth cannot be distributed to the heirs because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already decreed the amounts for the heirs. In Sunnah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given everyone their due rights. That means he has decided and stated the share of the heirs. So now making a will wasiyat for any heir is not allowed. Yes, if someone has someone's property or deposit, or had taken some loan, or has some right over someone, then for that he can write the will, wasiyat. Sunnah Nisa'i states in 128, the Prophet ﷺ said, the person who has a right over someone, he should not spend 3 nights without having the will written with him. Tafseer of verse number 181. فَمَنْ بَدَّلَهُ بَعْدَمَا سَمِعَهُ فَإِنَّمَا إِثْمَهُ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يُبَدِّلُونَهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Translation: If anyone changes the bequest after hearing it, the sin of it then is on those who make the change. Allah hears and knows everything. So the rules of will and inheritance are very important, and care should be taken in them. Someone who keeps doing the good deed his whole life and in the last days do some changes in the will, then he spoils his hereafter. Here it has been told that a person who died did the distribution correctly, but afterwards the people in whose presence the will was done, or who heard the will, they changed it. So now the people who changed it are the wrongdoers. The person who died will not have any sin. He made the will correctly according to the Sharia. Those who altered the will or made some changes, they will be guilty. The reward of the deceased is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he made the right will, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everyone who did and what everyone did and who changed it. Allah ta'ala knows all of this. Nothing is hidden from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the intentions and their breach of trust. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the hidden secrets. He is the one who knows, and he listens to everything. Tafseer of verse number 182. فمن خاف من موص جنفا أو إثما فأصلح بينهم فلا إثم عليه إن الله غفور رحيم. Translation: But there is no blame on the one who suspects an error or an injustice on the part of the testator and brings about a settlement among the parties. Allah is forgiving and merciful. So now there is one more problem. If the will has been made against the Sharia, then what must one do? Now let us discuss different types of incorrect wills. Number one who did more than 1/3 in the will in favor of non-heirs. Number 2, made the will to give more to only one heir because the portion of the heirs are fixed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When making the will of 1/3, you cannot include the legal heir in that again. A person making a will, and when he has to give to the non-heirs, scholars are united on this, that those relatives who do not have any share in the inheritance, it is not obligatory to do for him. Yes, if a person feels it necessary to include non-heirs in the will, then 1/3 can be given. It is honourable thing to do, not at all obligatory. If the person wants to give someone more than this, there is one condition. If all the other heirs give the permission, then only the will can then be done for that one heir, Varith. Example, maybe a person has one house in virasat, in inheritance, and his one son who is very poor staying in that house, and his other heirs are all rich, and with their permission and consent, that house can be given to this poor son. Doing this is allowed. So with the consent of the heirs, 1/3 or the whole amount of the wealth can be given in this way. Yes, if someone writes the will against the Sharia and the heirs had not given their consent, then what should be done then? That has been told and has been stated here in this ayah. It has been said, whoever fears of partiality from the person writing the will, Janafan means partiality, meaning by mistake or forgets unknowingly, bends towards one relative and in the love do injustice with others, whereas Ithman is sin, meaning knowingly going against the Sharia, and it's necessary to change it. If a person is righteous throughout his life, but in the last stages of life is trapped in the whisper of shaitan or in love of someone, makes the wrong will, then his hereafter will be ruined. So correction of this type of will is very necessary. With this type of will, the relatives also feel jealous of each other and their hearts tear apart. So it has been said, if someone makes the wrong will, then with the consent of the heirs, the changes can be done. In fact, heirs should definitely do the changes in this case so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can forgive them. Due to the wrong will, distances appear between the relatives, and you should try to show a reconciliation between each other. There is no sin in doing this type of change in the will. In fact, you will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because this change was done to save you from sin and to remove the jealousy and hatred which had occurred due to the wrong will. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very forgiving and merciful. Now let us see what we have learnt from today's verses for our actions. Ayah 177 is Ayat Bir. We have to adopt the 10 qualities of the real soldiers of Islam. We have to understand the spirit of righteousness, which is the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ayah 178 to 179, we learned that we should take care for the safety, dignity, sanctity of human life, and should remember that one person's dignity and sanctity is more precious than the holy Kaaba itself. There is blessing in each command of the Sharia. All orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are full of wisdom. If the murderer is of a higher status and the murdered person from a lower status, the same qisas should be undertaken. Only the murderer should be killed in qisas. Life is in qisas. When someone intentionally kills someone, then the murderer being killed for the murder is called qisas. From these verses we came to know if one knowingly kills someone and if the murderer is forgiven, example, the person murdered had two sons and they both forgave the murderer, then there is no claim on the murderer. But if not fully forgiven, like one son forgave and the second son does not forgive, in this situation the murderer will not be murdered, but the murderer will have to give half the blood money to the son who did not forgive. Let's see what the ruling for the blood money is. It is 100 camels or 1,000 dinar or 10,000 dirham. This blood money will be given to the legal heirs as per Islamic law. That means this blood money will be distributed like inheritance, virasat. The same way the decision of qisas should be combined. If one heir forgives the qisas, then this decision will be from everyone. Now blood money will be distributed among themselves the same way the heirs of the murdered do not have the right to murder. This verdict will be by the court and government. We learn from ayah 180 after ayat Dedan. This ayah has been mansukh, abrogated. In Surah Nisa, ayah number 12 to 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself has told the share of each heir. If someone wants to give something to the non-heir, then he will give from 1/3. Also, a will cannot be made for the heirs, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has fixed their shares as stated in verse 180. From ayah 181, we learn that issues of will and inheritance are very important and we should not be ignorant about them. We should not change the correct will made with justice, otherwise the burden of sin will be upon the one who does this. In ayah 182, we learned that if someone makes the will against the Islamic law, Sharia, then we should collect the heirs and change it with the heirs, because misunderstandings take place by depriving one of one's rights. So we should try to heal the disagreements between the two. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the excellent ability to follow this. Ameen. Homework. Please note down today's homework. Number 1. Write down the translation, root words and singular plural of today's ayats. Number 2. In the light of the 6 measures of Thulathi Mujarrad, write down the tense, fi'l madhi and fi'l mudari of the following. A. Ta, ro, kaf. Recognition of Bab is noon. B. Seen, mim, ayn. Recognition of Bab is seen. C. Jim, noon, fa. Recognition of Bab is dod. D. Ha, dod, ro. Recognition of Bab is noon. E. Kaf, ta, ba. Recognition of Bab is noon. F. Sod, dal, qaf. Recognition of Bab is dod. Number 3. In Ayat Dibir, what is the real spirit of righteousness? What works are righteousness mentioned for? And this is in Ayah 177. Number 4. What is meant by qisas? There is life in qisas for you. Elaborate on this. This is in Ayah 178 to 179. Number 5. If a person makes the will according to Islamic law, Sharia, can it be changed? Ayah 181. Number 6. What should be done if the deceased made the will against the Sharia? And this is Ayah 182. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand the spirit and purpose of righteousness. Take care of yourselves. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.